look back and go, damn, these people are a bunch of I guarantee it. We're going to be looking back and be like, I always tell my dad, I wish I could have been born like in the early 90s or like the late 80s and like seen basketball in that era growing up.
Yep.
In that bruiser era, where I don't give a I can go out there and have a guy that can toss people around and get ejected. And that's just like how they played. The only player that we've had, at least in my, to my knowledge of what I've seen in Kings basketball, is Ron Artest. And I know a lot of people said it used to be Scott Pollard back in the early 2000s, late 90s. I was a baby, so I didn't get to watch it. But Ron Artest was a bruiser. He played in the majority of the late 90s, early 2000s with, ending his career in the early 2010s. But dude, he tossed people around, he ran into the crowd, punched bitches all the time, didn't give a
Yeah.
But you don't see that anymore. The only player you see right now that even remotely touches that is Draymond. That's and maybe two other people.
Yeah,
and Patrick Beverly,
I was gonna say Patrick Beverly probably. But yeah,
but even then they can't do anything.
I don't think it's a hot take to say that right now, like the era of NBA that we're in is the most frustrating NBA era to like watch, besides like maybe the like 50s. If you go back and you're like, oh my gosh, like go out there and play against those guys. This is different. It's very much like the refs are very involved. Everybody's worried, like overly worried about health and safety. And it's kind of ruining the game to watch as a fan at times because, what's frustrating is like at the same time, the talent in the league is at an all-time high, in my opinion. I think if you go back and look at like the 90s, early 2000s, there's a lot of names you can throw out and be like, oh my gosh, bro. Like, my favorite player of all time is T-Mac. But like, just from head to toe, so many teams in the league are parity right now. And there's so much talent on all these rosters that almost every game is fun to watch, from the Hornets to, the 76ers to the Nets. Like, everybody is fun in different ways besides, like, the Rockets. But, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You got a really good point.
It's just a really frustrating era. People are going to, like you said, go back and watch this era and be like, that. That's not fun to watch.
I don't know if you've ever, we don't have cable, but on NBA TV, they do this series where they call it the NBA Hardwood Classics, and they'll replay some of the best games in NBA history from like the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. And I've seen so many amazing games just from watching them. They'll replay like even all-star games, like old all-star games. Kids, if you're a kid up to like Josh and I's age of 24, 25, every all-star game you've seen, they just half-ass it. They don't give a fuck. You know what? But back in the 2000s, they went hard. They went really hard. You know why though? Do you know why they went really hard?
No, I have no idea.
Because the winner of that got home court advantage in the finals.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they took that away.
Why?
It doesn't even matter anymore.
Wait, why did they take that away? What's
God
it
knows.
decided by now?
Fucking I don't have to ask me. You could look it up. But the thing is,
I don't know.
yeah, it's up to you.
Whatever.
But
the thing
is, they used to go all out because they understood the competition level that was in front of them, one, and what it meant for their team in making it to the playoffs and the finals in number two.
Wow, that's actually like a really good idea, and that's really stupid they took that away.
Yeah, so I think the Major League Baseball still does it that way. NFL just has a pro day. They don't give a that. They hardly even play a game as it is.
Yeah.
But the NBA All-Star Game used to be so fun. It used to be amazing to watch, and the competition level was at its best. When it was Kobe going against an early LeBron, Carmelo, all these guys in the 2000s. Now it's just like they just score 160 points a game, and they like score to like 80, and then it resets at 0 again. It's like bullshit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's something along those lines.
That's so dumb. Yeah, they're
and but here's to your point though. A lot of it is soft. It's very political. It's very much of like all about revenue at the end of the day, right? It's a business.
Yeah.
And they don't care about the competition level. They don't care about what actually makes the game of basketball a beautiful sport and engaging and competitive. We strayed away from it for the majority. Yeah. And I wish one season the NBA would just go, how can we make it like 2003 all over again? What's one thing we could change to make it look like that again, where the fans are engaged? There's like that competitive spirit in every aspect, like every competition, I think one thing that they did in a really good direction, though, sorry, I'm not trying to talk a lot.
No, you're good.
Is the play-in game. I think that was something that was innovative, made it much more competitive to these teams that are kind of on fringe playoff, kind of like, damn, are we going to be in the lottery again and get or can we make the playoffs, Stuff like that. I think that heightened the level of competition. They need to keep doing stuff like that.
I agree.
And I've heard that they're going to do a in-season tournament at some point. They haven't finalized that. That would be awesome if they could do that too. And every player would get a bonus that was on the winning team.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
It's incentives like that.
The problem, to go back to your earlier point, is that, at the end of the day, it is a business. And the pessimistic side of me says there's no reason right now for the NBA to change any of their rules or to try to make it any less soft, because the more foul calls that are called, the longer the game goes on, the more commercials get played, the longer people stay around, the more people buy drinks in the stadiums. It's like the incentives seem to be pushing more and more towards a slower paced game, more stoppages, more things like that. And that sucks. And I don't know how that can be fixed. And the other problem, too, is that, for years, I feel like the viewership of NBA has kind of gone down a bit.
It has a lot.
However, with all this parity in the league right now, I think that there's a lot more people watching, especially with all these random-ass teams like the Sacramento Kings suddenly doing well. People want to tune in and watch them do well, So, there's a lot going on right now, and it doesn't seem like the NBA would have an incentive to change it for the better at this moment, which is really sad.
It is frustrating because I think the last time I checked this must have been in 2019. In 2019 or 2020, the annual poll, that at least this is for the last time I've seen it, the poll came out for what sport is the most viewed in the United States, or the America's favorite sport, and it's still it was football at the time. I think it always will be. But it makes me think, like, at some point it must have been basketball. At some point it must have been baseball.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's been a football league, or sorry, country. That's what everyone wants to watch is football.
I know,
and it's a season that only has 17 games. 18 games, whatever it is now. And that spans from, when did they start football? They started in February. No, that's when the Super Bowl is in February. Whatever, you know what I mean? It's only for
it's like fall. I want to say it's late August or early, no, because August sucks. So it's September. Yeah.
September is when it starts, and the Super Bowl's in February. And basketball is from October to fucking April. That's when basketball is. It's for God knows how many. That's a ton of months.
Yeah. I have no problem with the amount of games that they play. What is it, 82 in a season or something like that? I'm fine with that. It's the playoffs that I have a problem with. I don't want a 7-game series in the early rounds.
I agree.
It's like, it's too much. I think 5 is fine. I'm fine with 5. But 7 is just, it's too much. Why would I watch the first 3 games of any series if I'm not that into basketball?
I think one of the, I think about the pros the arguments that would be made for and against, like, shorter playoff series. So say, I've always been, I'm in the same boat as you. I've always said that the first round of the playoffs should be a best of 3. And I think that the second round should be a best of 5, and everything after that should be best of 7.
I'm okay with that.
That's what I've thought, but I think what the pushback would be, if I were to guess, is that it's not fair. It's not. It doesn't give the lower ranked team enough room for success.
Yeah, okay, but you can make that argument about the play-in tournament.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm with you. But I'm saying, I'm just speaking from a different perspective. Is like, say the Kings are a 2 seed and the Nuggets are the Kings are a 7 seed and the Nuggets are a 2 seed, right? In the playoffs. And they're playing a best of 3 series, and the Kings lose the first game, and it's like, well, here goes their season. Here goes their opportunity. But, and then from a Nuggets perspective, it's like the Kings win the first game, and the Nuggets are like, what the f***? You just played a whole ass season and got the 2 seed, had 60 wins, and we're 1 game away from losing our entire season.
Yeah.
That's like, the other argument. So I could see both sides. I think best of 3 is pushing it, but best of 5 is great. I love that idea. You just win 3 games. That is, why is nobody doing that?
Yeah, I think the less games you have the players play in a playoff series, the better basketball you also see. You've got stars that are going to absolutely push themselves to the limit to try to be better compared to a 7-game series. I mean, obviously game 7s are always fun, but yeah, if you cut that series down to a series of 5 or a series of 3, any star that's on that team is going to step up in a big way during those games, and it's going to be more exciting basketball for people to watch at home.
I agree 100%. And I've been advocating for that for a while. And of course, my voice won't go any farther than 10-inch talks, but I will tell you is that the NBA would have much more viewership and they would have much higher competition level if they were to do that one little thing.